welcome to Let's Talk with Bonnie Z. Excuse me. I have two wonderful ladies with me today. I have Michele 2 and Michele 1. Fortunately, they both have the same name, so it gets a little confusing. So I'm going to let you both share some information, and I'd like to start with you. I understand you're involved with a company that does hospice care. Could you tell me a little about what hospice means? Because when I heard that word, and my mom passed away 16 years ago, I had absolutely no idea what it entailed. When the doctor said that to me, I said, oh, okay, we're putting her in a nursing home. Let me make sure it's a Jewish nursing home, number one, whatever that meant. Whatever that meant. And let me make sure that the curtains are perfect and everything. Well, Mom passed away that night. So I really had no knowledge, and my brother, who was with me that day, said to the doctor, just leave her alone. She's in another world. And I'm sure that happens to most people when they hear the word hospice. So tell me a little about, what does hospice mean?
So hospice is palliative care. What hospice is it's a specialized way of caring by a medical team of professionals that all work together to meet the needs of the patient. The patient would have a life-limiting illness, and they are addressing the physical, the spiritual, and the emotional pain and symptoms of the patient with the life-limiting illness.
And what is palliative care?
So what the team does is they're treating the pain and the symptoms. So it's pain management, symptom management, and a lot of people don't realize that pain is in many forms. There's not only physical pain, but emotional and spiritual pain as well. So the team is composed of many different disciplines, meaning it's not just nurses that are part of your team. It's a social worker, it's a spiritual care coordinator, it's home health aides that help with bathing and showering, and it's, of course, our volunteers.
Does it mean, example, somebody will say, well, first of all, will my doctor say, we need to look at hospice? Or do I, as the patient, have to say, I'm interested, or a family member have to say something to the doctor about hospice?
I would encourage anybody and everybody to bring up the topic of hospice to their doctor, but it doesn't mean that you need to talk to your doctor to have us come out to your home and have a nurse see you. The doctor would normally write an order for us as a hospice consult, and we would then come out and discuss whether hospice is an option for you.
So does that mean, in general, that a lot of people think, well, I heard hospice, they're probably going to pass away in 2 weeks. And I understand that's, of course, everyone is different, but that's not necessarily, and feel free to chime in any time. Sure. Do you want to answer that one?
Well, and Michele can help out too. Hospice really is for anybody with a diagnosis of 6 months or less to live. The average length of stay on hospice services at a national average is about 2 weeks. However, you can receive the benefit for much longer. Like Michele said, you can call your physician and talk to him about hospice. If you're tired of seeking aggressive treatment, maybe you're no longer responding to the chemotherapy, or you're just not doing well at all and you no longer want to receive aggressive treatment, then hospice is a great option to go with.
And palliative care, again, what is the difference?
Well, my understanding is palliative care, like Michele said, treats the pain particularly, but also palliative care is maybe for a patient who's not quite ready for hospice yet. With hospice, a part of it, you have to agree to comfort care only. And so comfort care means you're not going to seek aggressive treatment anymore. And aggressive treatment would be like chemotherapy, radiation, surgeries, anything to kind of cure the illness. With hospice, it's more palliative, treating comfort. But let's say you're not ready to sign on to hospice yet because you want to keep fighting. Palliative care allows you to continue seeking aggressive treatment and also have the team come to you and give you that comfort care services. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and that's really, really popular in pediatrics to have the palliative care option because a lot of families are reluctant to sign their child on the hospice services for understandable reasons. So palliative care is a really good natural segue into hospice care, which is designed for comfort measures only.
Now the big question. Who pays for this? If you're over 65. We're just going to deal with that for the moment.
Okay, so hospice is covered under Medicare 100%, also Medi-Cal, and most private insurances have a hospice coverage as well. So it's 100% covered. If you're over 65, you have Medicare, Medi-Cal.
Yeah, and that's wonderful too, because under that hospice benefit, through Medicare and Medi-Cal, you receive the entire benefit of the entire hospice team coming to you wherever you call home. So sometime that could be your physical home, it could be a nursing facility, a boarding care, an assisted living facility. So you have a physician, a nurse, a social worker, a chaplain, a volunteer, all surrounding you with that love and support. You also get your durable medical equipment, which is your hospital bed, your bedside commode, whatever other else equipment-wise you need. You have all of your medications related to your hospice diagnosis covered 100%. So it's really this comprehensive model of care that just really supports that patient and the family.
That's so wonderful.
Yeah. And in fact, the number one comment we hear from the families we serve is, I wish I would have known about hospice sooner. And that is because from the moment the hospice team arrives, the family just feels such a release and a wonderful, they could take a deep breath because they have the support they need. A lot of times families and patients are finding this illness on their own, and they're trying to coordinate their own care, doctor's appointments and all kinds of stuff. They just don't feel supported. And then all of a sudden they can just, with hospice, just focus on being comfortable and focus on quality of life. And in fact, studies show that patients who sign on to hospice actually live longer than patients who continue seeking aggressive treatment.
Here at Leisure World, again, do we have to talk to the doctor? Can we choose a company? There are many companies out there. I'm going to address that to you.
A lot of patients actually like to interview a couple companies so they can feel comfortable with the nurse that comes out, and we're very thorough when we come out and we go over everything. And if they need time to think about things with their family and talk it over, then we give them that time. I mean, we don't know if it's a new diagnosis that they just got yesterday or if it's something that they've been handling and coping with for a long time. Yeah.
So what brought you into the world of hospice?
Okay, so my story it started 20 years ago with my dad. He was diagnosed with cancer and in 97, and he, got the surgery, went to the best hospitals, UCLA, Cedars-Sinai, all of them, Chapman, just about anywhere in the area, and had a long struggle with sarcoma, and then it ended up being that he had surgery and got his tumor removed. So the family was thinking that he had just about, he had gotten through it and everything was cured, everything was done. Well, it was for about a year, and then we'd start to see lumps develop and all over his body, and then it became, just really chemo began. So the chemo began, and it was really hard on him. He became very weak. He lost his strength. He lost his hair. He lost, he was just barely hanging on. We were taking him to rehabs, rehabilitative rooms. We were taking him to exercise bikes as directed. And I didn't even realize how crazy that was at the time. I was just
Right.
following doctor's orders. So to make a long story shorter, he ended up, I remember the one day, towards the last day, he was going up the stairs to his bed, and we would sit on each stair, every stair, and it would take hours till we got to the bedroom. And so I gave him his medications, he went to bed, and then the next morning I got the call that my dad had collapsed on the floor, and so we all met him at the hospital, and I knew it wasn't going to be good, and it wasn't. We all surrounded him. He was very uncomfortable, and he was very restless, and so we told him all the things you're supposed to, that we love him and that it'll be okay, and he went to the heavens. And we were all in shock, complete shock. And the next thing I remember is being away from his bedside and meeting a hospice rep for the first time. And that's when I learned about hospice and all that we could have had for our family, for him first and foremost, but our family as well. And just having a nurse, be there for us, a team of people.
It's interesting you said that. I was out to lunch today, and a lady came over to me and she said, so-and-so just passed away. The lady was 105. And the hospice, somehow there was a mix-up. The lady went a week without hospice. The lady came the morning of the day the lady died. So, again, you have to follow through everything. This topic is extremely important to me because I feel that I'm a videographer and I've been placed here to do something very special, as you girls have. And that's sitting down with people and learning about their lives, not necessarily for me, but for their children. How important it is to be able to turn a video on or whatever it is and hear, "Oy, it took 26 weeks for us to all get together. Stop fighting. You and your brother stop fighting," whatever it is. Or you're looking at that picture. I mean, it's all part of this. And Mama's saying or Pop's saying, "Listen, I want you to take care of your mother. I want you to take care of your brother." So many people have no dialogue. They want to hold it inside. I've heard stories about people giving children up for adoption. They never mentioned anything to their spouse because this was maybe years before that. And now they want people to know. So that's part of what your hospice team does too. I'm sure they sit there, they hold their hands, and they talk to them. And that's why meeting both of you has been so important. Like a quick overview of what brought you into this field.
Well, what brought me into this field is my own personal experience. I'm a 2-time stroke survivor and had my first stroke when I was 11, and that led to a diagnosis of a rare lesion in my brain. And when I was 14, I was told I wasn't going to live to be 30 years old. And so I really was faced with a choice, and that was quality of life versus quantity of life. I could continue, seeking this aggressive treatment and become more disabled and more, debilitated, but I chose to live every day to the fullest instead, knowing I had a limited life expectancy. And so that really fueled my passion to pursue a life of purpose and to give back to other people in really meaningful ways. Fast forward a couple of years, I was able to, the doctors were able to remove the lesion, and I now have a normal life expectancy, although I'm still disabled, but I know in my heart that I'm doing what I'm meant to do here on this earth, and that is helping those during their final journey. So.
It really is such a pleasure meeting both of you. Before we go, is there anything special that you'd like to share? I know your company actually comes out
Yes.
and works with the patients. They do comfort for the patients in general. And the name of your company?
Companion Hospice Care.
Thank you. And they're located?
We are located all over Southern California, Arizona, and Texas.
Okay. And tell me a little more about what you're doing with the foundation.
So I work for Southern California Hospice Foundation. We're a nonprofit organization that exists to support hospice patients. And so we don't actually provide the care like Companion does, but we rather enhance it by helping to meet any kind of needs that reach beyond the scope of what medical insurances will cover. So we work with patients who might not be able to pay a bill. We come in and we take care of that bill for them. They need food. We provide them with grocery gift cards. They might have a final wish that they want before they die. We help to fulfill that wish. So, for example, we just worked with a patient that wanted to go see the tennis match in Indian Wells, and we were able to arrange for him to meet Roger Federer and to see a tennis match, which was his lifelong dream. We are working on another request that's happening next week for a woman that wanted to go to a spa day. So we're arranging for her and her family to go to Glen Ivy in Corona. So, you know, our role really in the foundation is to help enhance the quality of life so that they can live each moment to the fullest and make each moment count.
This is so exciting. If you like what we're talking about, in the sense that you'd like to see more programs, please let us know. I'm Bonnie Z, and ladies, it's been a pleasure. Is there anything else you'd like to share?
I would just like to share that I'm so excited to be here. Thank you so much for having us. We're always in need of hospice volunteers. So if anyone listening is interested in giving of their time or talent to be a hospice volunteer, it is a very much needed service. You can come and sit with a patient, you can go to the hospice office, you can do bereavement workshops, you can help administratively, doing paperwork, filing things. So there's so many ways to give back, and if any of you are interested in helping out, we would really appreciate your support.
At the end of this video, I will have detailed information where you can locate these lovely ladies.
Thank you.
Ladies, thank you so much.
Thank you.